All right, guys, welcome in. All right, we've been seeing a lot of requests for doing a UI video, and yeah, here it is. Now, this is not going to be some high-tech, high-fucking fancy video. It's basically just going over my UI, why I have the add-ons I have, kind of the positioning of them, and yeah. So we're going to start with add-on list, and I'm going to kind of talk about why I have all these add-ons. So as far as ability team tracker, that just goes over what your team has. So, and you can kind of put that to the left of your party unit frames. So I kind of just put stuff I'm gonna need to know, like if they have trinkets, stuff like that. I'll show you kind of in the video. Bartender is also a really good one. I try to keep it minimal as far as my UI goes, but I like Bartender just so I can kind of just change just a few things, have a little bit more action bar, stuff like that. Battleground enemies, it's a classic PG one. If you just want to kind of be able to target and know your enemy healers, stuff like that. Big debuffs is an absolute must. Basically, it puts the CC above your player frame or target frame, and you can also see it in your party interface. So it's just really nice to have. There's a lot of customizations with it. I really didn't dive too deep into those. I just kind of did the basics because that's all I really needed. Capping, again, that's BGs. Like if you're in Alteric Valley or AB, it's a really good one. Details, I like details. Now, a lot of people consider this a PvE add-on, but I think it has its use in PvP as well. You can see your deaths, you can see what you died to, what damage you took, what's happening, like what your most damage is. You can find out a lot, like CC breaks, everything. So I always dive into this to kind of figure out more on what happened in the arena if I couldn't see it earlier. Now, eAlign is how I like to keep, and it uses the ability to make it really clean. So I actually kind of like pinpoint everything. I'll show you a little later in the video to make it just really nice looking. Pretty much it just puts boxes around the screen so you can kind of get the pinpoint where you want your add-ons. Omnibar is really good. That's definitely a must. Pretty much like a lot of people use it just for the interrupts, right? You'll have it anywhere you want. Like I said, I'll show you later in the video, but it allows you to track enemy interrupts. Now I go a few steps further. I like to track enemy offensives, enemy defensives, enemy utilities, and enemy interrupts. And the reason I do that is just because, I mean, that really helps. If you can have your eyeballs and track all that, then you can know when you want to go. You can know if your enemies are about to use their go. You can just kind of get a good feel of everything. But the interrupt is probably the standard, especially if you're healer, range DPS, something like that. This is a must-have. Quartz just makes my cast bars look a little better. I'll again show you that here a little later, but that's kind of what that's about. sArena is a must. A lot of people use Gladius. I use sArena. I like the feel of sArena. I like the customization. If you use Gladius and you enjoy that, feel free to use that. I just kind of use this. I kind of go with that Zarya UI, and I kind of change it up just slightly too. Tell Me When is like I think a friendly version of weak auras. You could pretty much just kind of put any debuffs, buffs that you want to keep track of. So I use haste buffs like for my lock and stuff like that. I really don't go too crazy with it. I've seen a lot of streams that a lot of people have crazy sound effects and stuff like that when trying to track everything. Now sound is really good and it's definitely a tool, but I try to just train my eyes to be able to see everything because I think that helps you in the long run. Rip plates is my nameplate add-on. A lot of people have their favorites. This is mine. You can like customize the buff size, debuff size, like I'll show you later. It's really good. That's just the one I use most. Reflex is good because you can just track your games. You can see what's the last 2v2, what maps you play on, what, like if you lose on one map more than others, you can track your 3v3s, RBGs. It's a really good tool to see what you're playing into, how often you win against that, how often you lose against that, and kind of just gives you good information there. And then SUI makes like kind of my my action bars and stuff kind of a darker tint. I like it just because of that. I don't really use too much more than that. I kind of turn some stuff off. I'll go into it a little bit later in the video, but that's kind of what I do there. So those are all my add-ons that I use. And yeah, so we're gonna go in and I'm gonna show you kind of how it's set up. I'm gonna go on a fresh tune here, and then yeah, we're gonna get it going from there. All right, so this is it. This is you just fucking entered the game. All right, so I'm gonna go over, let's see, I'm gonna go over my name, or my name, let's see, my target frame, my focus frame, and my player frame. So I'm gonna do just target myself and cast focus. Now I'm gonna get rid of that, tell me when. And so pretty much now I'm gonna go hit Align, right? When I hit Align, this is that eAlign add-on I was talking about. It pretty much makes everything pixel perfect, so I can kind of see where I want stuff. Now I think it is very important, in fact I know it's very important, that you try to keep your UI the same across all tunes and try not to change it too much. Now if you like something and you find something else, you know what I mean, you can kind of move stuff around, but just realize that every time you move around something, you have to retrain your eyes to see that. And overall, that can kind of hinder your performance, especially when there's so much going on in the arena. Your eyes are moving all over the place. You just need to just train them to look at the same thing every time, and then you will improve, guaranteed. So how I set this up here is unlock these frames, boom, and now I just kind of randomly, so this is my focus frame, so I just do 6 down, so 1 2 3 4 5 6, then 6 across, so 1 2 3 4 5 6, and on that 6th one is where I put my frame. So I kind of like it so the name's right under the line and kind of right around here. And so now for the target frame, I do 6 down, so 1 2 3 4 5 6, so 6 down from your focus. Now guys, if you, and then, oh yeah, my player frame goes right here to next of it. I just like my eyes to see my focus, so I can see the cast bar, I can see his buffs, debuffs, and I can see my target's buffs and debuffs. Now guys, if you need a better position for your focus and player frame and stuff like that, that is perfectly fine, right? You can put it wherever you want. I think larger the better. Now some if you watch a lot of pros out there, they have like really large player frames and target frames. That's because it just gives them bigger information, so they can see it quicker and can make the judgment call faster. That's really what it's about. And also another big thing here is that you want to try to keep your eyes, or kind of, this is UI and kind of, I guess, a little arena teaching. So you want to keep your eyes around this area the most you can, the best you can, right? Like if I'm in an arena match, I'm not looking at my mini map, right? It takes way too long for my eyes to go up there and go back to what I'm looking at. So this entire setup is designed so everything is focused around my character, so my eyes move the least amount of distance possible for the information received. Like, tell me when here, just turn it off. To do that, you just do /TMW. I'm not really going to go into that too much. It's just like I use only 2 of those for buffs. It's just, you can place it wherever you want, and there's a lot of helpful stuff on there for tell me when, but it's kind of like weak auras pretty much. All right, so now we're going to set up, we got our target frame, player frame, focus frame. We're going to set up our bartender. So we'll go hit bartender here. So you have all these bars, obviously. So now we're going to do undo lock. So now you can move all these around. I'm going to move my X. I just kind of move stuff off to the side just for the start of it. I want to turn off Blizzard art bar. That's these griffins down here. I don't really want them, if I'm being honest. So for no particular reason, I use bar 6, 1, and 5. Like I said, for no particular reason, but that's my bar 1, 2, and 3 right on top of each other. So I'm going to move all this stuff out of the way at the start. Just get it out of the way here. All right, so then I'm going to move it down. I'm going to turn off bar snapping too. This means that it just snaps. I don't really need it too much. That's okay. I'm going to put it there for now. So now bar 1. For me, this is just what I do. Like I said, if you do something different, feel free. But I take 0 padding. I go 1.25 in scale. And then that's pretty much that. And then I do the same for bar 5 and 6, right? 0 padding, 1.25 in scale, 6, 0 padding, 1.25 in scale. And I go 615. I just try to get in the middle as much as I can. Now, I feel like I'm OCD in this, that I really like everything to be pretty accurate, like right on the money. Just helps, I guess, just knowing that everything's right there. So, and then now I put my extra action bar or button right here, and then my vehicle bar will go right here. Now you can literally put that anywhere you want, not a big deal. That's just kind of put it right there for me. I can move it pretty quickly there. All right, now we have bars 8 and 3. So I'm going to activate these. Boom, perfect. Now I use these as kind of side little plates right here. What that means is that I'm gonna do padding down to 0. All these are down to 0, by the way. Bar 8, padding down to 0. And I actually keep these scaled at 1 because I don't want them as big as this right here. And so I'm gonna make it so the rows are 3 rows. I just kind of put it right here for you. I'm gonna do the same with 3. Adding down to 0, we're doing it 3 rows. I'm gonna put it right here, kind of like right in the middle between these. Next, I'm gonna do details, just kind of moving right to left. Now, I don't really have a specific height for this. I just like to see it, so I just kind of put it big like that. I hit lock. There's so many things you can do with details. You can change the font, you can change your name, you can change the style, the color of the bars, anything you want. The idea is you're just trying to read the information. So however you like to set it up, feel free to set it up that way. I just like it big, so if I'm in like dungeons, raids or something like that, I can see everything. But mainly I'm ended up right clicking it and I'm using all of these options to see what I want to choose to look at. So that's the whole point of that. But I make sure I lock it every time, because then also you can drag it up if you want to see more information, and then it snaps back down. We're gonna do 7, 4, and 2. All right, boom. See, this is why I like Bartender, because I'm actually activating a lot of these, is the thing. So 2, again, no padding ever, right? And then I'm actually gonna make these, it should be 2 rows. I'm gonna put them right above the microbar. Like I said, you can make this perfect as much as you want. I'm just kind of putting it in the general area for you. So 4, again, no padding, 2 rows. Boom. Bar 7, no padding, 2 rows. All right, cool. As far as these go, the coordinates, you can do whatever. I just keep my FPS down here in the bottom left. I took it. I'm gonna drag it over here. This is part of SUI. No reason. I just kind of like to see my constant FPS and MS, kind of see what's going on there. As far as the status tracking bar, right? What I'm gonna do is I actually make it a little bit lower in scale. So the whole idea of it is just to kind of put it down here so I can view it. It's so small that it's out of range. I'm never going to be looking at it in an arena match. It's just something that I can just kind of have just in case I want to see my rep and stuff like that. So I keep it down here. Now the next thing is the pet bar. Pet bar I actually put right above it here. Now this is important, obviously, if you have any pet class, because I like to see, you know, kind of like right there, but I actually use those abilities and hotkey them too. So my pet attack is hotkeyed, my pet follow is hotkeyed, my pet move to is hotkeyed, and then obviously all the pet abilities. So if you're talking about succubus stun, if you're talking about imp dispel, or if you're talking about the lock, the fell lock, so or the CS. So pretty much all of those you want to have. I actually have those over here on my lock. But yeah, so but you can do those in your player menu and then kind of do that. But I just kind of have it there. Now I'm going to close this. Stance bar also, I mean, I would probably put here. This is just a weak aura that I would just disable. But stance bar, I'd probably just have it here. But then obviously hotkey these, because I'm not going to just manually click these every time. All right, so now we're on to Quartz. Quartz is just, here, we'll lock this. Toggle bar lock, right? So, looks like this is already kind of saved a little bit. So I'm toggling bar lock, and the whole thing is I want my player cast bar right above here, right above my pet frame. So it's like the pet bar and then my cast bar. Do I look at it that often? Not really. Only thing I might look at is the time, perhaps. Like if I'm doing a cast ball, like if I don't have my haste procs or something like that, or if I notice I have tongues on me, stuff like that. I mean, it's a little bit quick information, but I'm not sitting there watching it the entire time. I just kind of have it there for just kind of aesthetics. So, but what is important about Quartz is that I enable player, but I literally disable everything else, right? I disable focus, disable pet, latency, all of these I disable because I only use Quartz so I can move my player frame over here, or player taskbar over here. So it's now Omnibar. Omnibar is going to be a huge one. We're talking about a little bit in the add-on setup. Now Omnibar, you see up here, I have defensives, interrupts, offensives, utility. When you first install Omnibar, you're only going to have interrupts. Now you can manually add more if you'd like by creating bar. Now this is going to be pretty wild to look at, but when I test this is basically just showing all these abilities. What's really important to know is that I have it enlarged here, the interrupts down right below my character. That's the easiest spot for me to look at, and so I actually react the quickest to that. Right above my character is offensives. Now it just or defensives rather, defensives. Now it really helps because I can just look up real quick and see if a paladin has his bubble, when he bubbled, if he has his wall, eye for an eye, if the shaman cast wall, anything like that. I can kind of see really quick and know when my go might be more effective than not. And then off to the top left here is offensives. That helps me if I know that a rogue used dance, if he's looking for anything else, mark for death, stuff like that, shadow blades, anything that I'm gonna know, like, okay, this I don't see it on here, so this guy has it up, so I know I'm about to, he's like next kidney go or anything like that, double cheap, they're gonna look to make a kill. So then that tells me that I need to disrupt that the best I can. Right below it is utility. Basically everything utility, so hodge, charge, psychic scream, interrupt, grip, stuff like that. Not interrupt, but just grip. So the idea there is that if I see, and I have it actually showing the entire time as opposed to the other ones, because when you go to utility, you could use show unused icons as enemies appear. But the point of it is, if I see there's no cooldown on psychic scream, I know the enemy priest is going to be looking for a CC chain, or if I see that someone gets pet stunned into trap, that the priest is absolutely going to fear off that. So it's like my job to stop that best I can. And basically that's that. Now I'm not going to go deep dive too much into Omnibar about how I set all of that up. Feel free to check it out yourself. It is not too bad. You just kind of go in there, kind of mess around. But what is most important is this interrupt right here. This interrupt right here. It's like really, and you need it. So now we're going to go sArena. Perfect. So we're going to test. So now I have this all set up. Pretty much what I did is that I moved it here. Like, I think when you first download it or install it, you're going to notice it's a little bit smaller. As far as layout goes, I went to Zaryu, and then I actually just kind of increased the scale. So you can see my scale here, the width, the height, everything like that. Now what I did do is I moved some stuff around. So I moved the cast bar over here to the left. The DRs right above that, these are the diminishing returns. There's the human trinket and then the trinket overall. Now why this is so good, guys, and why this is so good is because I like it as close to my character as possible. Now we talked about early in the video, I like all my information right around here. So that just means that I can see something really fast and I can like react to it. So I can see if Arena 1 target's actually going to poly my healer. Well, I have hotkeys for Arena 1, 2, 3, interrupt, and fear, like that, like I would have clone or beam. So it's just I can quickly react to it, and all the information I need is right there. As far as, I'm gonna invite a buddy real quick. So as far as my player frames go, I actually go interface, game, raid profiles, and so I make it so that it has this kind of font to it. It's like raid style party frames for 2, 3, and 5 player, all specializations, PvP and PvE. I turn on display only dispellable debuffs, and then I kind of have my frame and width right here, just underneath, just to the left of the E, just underneath the T. And what this is it kind of has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right down here. So it actually just hovers right above my player Quartz, and I'm able to see everything there pretty fast. Just like I said, everything is kind of hovering around the middle of the screen. Now if we also go to add-ons and we go to ability team tracker, now this is one that actually shows all the icons to the left of the player frame. And so why I do that, I just did grow left. I did grow left there. Let me fight somebody. I don't know, it doesn't matter. I did grow left. And then and I unchecked myself. So here, I'll show self, but I unchecked that. So normally I wouldn't, because I don't need to look at that to know what I have, right? But I would like to know what my teammates have. And then under here you can do class, where you can add an ability ID. Guys, here's a huge piece of advice. If you don't know an ability ID, go to Wowhead and go to Google, type in Wowhead polymorph, and you click on that link, and it'll go to the polymorph spell. Now at the very top in the URL, there'll be like 6 numbers. Those are the ability ID. So you just want to copy those numbers, put them in here, put in the cooldown, and then add update if you can't find something. At the very beginning of the expansion in Shadowlands, there was no mind games to be seen, so you had to actually manually add that in, but you don't anymore. So pretty much I grow left, because this is already, the right is already taken by my Omnibar, and then I don't show self for that. Now we're kind of coming to an end here, but we're going to check out threat plates. Okay, let's block some of this stuff. Do threat plates. Nice. So the only thing I really do here, guys, is I actually just change the buffs, debuffs. Now this is the nameplate above your enemy. Now I go to widgets, I go to auras, and then right here is debuff and buff. Now you can change a whole bunch here, but most importantly, I just scroll down on appearance and I increase debuffs to 150% and buffs to 145%, crowd control 200%. Now you can literally have it however you want. You can increase the nameplate bar. You can make it wider, you can make it taller. But what's important is to see that information and just being able to soak it in the best you can. So if you don't like it really big, you can definitely decrease it. If you want it bigger, you can maximize it. Whatever you want to do, just make it your own. But that's the whole point, is so how can I get this information at a proper manner to make the best call possible? Now last, we're actually going to do SUI. So /SUI here. I'm going to turn off the line here so we can see it. So I really don't do too much with this. Basically, I turn off a lot. This is what I use. Now, I can't quite remember what's already checked when you first install it. I turn off tooltips for sure. I turn off cast bars. But basically, installing this just makes this black tint around everything, around my action bars, around my nameplate, stuff like that. So that's actually what I like the most. So this is just kind of what I use. I didn't mess with it too much, but this is something I definitely enjoy. Last thing, guys, is it's going to be bars on Bartender and toggle actions on key press instead of release. This is absolutely huge, guys. This is kind of one of those hidden things that maybe a lot of people don't know about. But if I'm trying to cast fear, right, what that means is if it's off, that if I hit F and I hold it down, it doesn't start casting until I let the button go. And why this is so much better is when you turn this on, it starts casting as soon as I hit that button. That is literally almost double the speed, and you don't really have time in an arena match, it feels like, to press a button and let it go, and to have the same response time as you would if you just press it. So make sure if you use Bartender, or if you don't have Bartender, there is an option SUI that you can turn that on. Just make sure you have that no matter what UI you're using. All right, guys, and then aside from that, there's not really too much. I try to get rid of my minimap icons the best I can, but that's the entire purpose of this user interface, is to not get too crazy with it, get all the information I can in a decent amount of time, and make the best appropriate response. But like I said, this is what I use. This is what I've been using for about 2-3 expansions now. So find what works for you and then just stick with it. If you want to change something here and there, you can, but be ready to just adapt to that and understand that you might take 1 step back for 2 steps forward. Anyway, guys, make sure to like, subscribe all my YouTube videos, as it does help getting that rolling. Make sure to follow my Twitch at twitch.tv/Showtime_live. Make sure to follow my Twitter at @Showtime_live TV. We are literally pumping at full fucking speeds. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you get a UI that works for you, and I'll catch you next time. Adios.